Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 12th day of August 2020. Well, we have a Wednesday. That's a Mercury day. That's correspondence-wise, that corresponds to the god Mercury, and intellect is an air element god, and so we're talking intellect, we're talking justice, reason, balance, truth. Truth is it's not a matter of opinion. It's become such a it's become such a farce, with what's his name in the White House, with the impeached one there, that everything he just that isn't what to his liking is all fake news. Well, truth comes out about him. Oh, it's fake news. The haters. No, dude, it's just the truth. People are discovering who and what you are. But it's that constant barrage of lies that has kept everybody unsettled. If anything that we learn out of this whole experience, if nothing else, it's the value of truth in our lives, of fair dealing, of not trying to get things and drift on people. I've had so many people in my life behave that way, and it's just awful. It's awful because they get abusive if you call them out. It's the most amazing thing, the lack of dignity and respect and integrity that's at the heart of all of it. The expectation that somehow you deserve more than everybody else in the world, and everyone else can just, kiss your feet, basically. It's unsettling. And to see this happen to this country, it's astonishing. So, we've kind of always, that energy's always been here. And a lot of the times it's just around the edges, or it has that feel. And so fundamentally, even though there could be issues, within the whole process, at least that there are certain things that will happen as a result. It's like if somebody breaks into your house and they steal something or they harm you or whatever, that you should be able to call the police. And if the people are still there, that they will arrest them and not you. And we don't know that now. And that courts will not interfere with judges, simply a judge's ruling or a jury's ruling, a decision, simply because it doesn't serve the guy in the Oval Office. You see, we're in that weird place where the kinds of norms and mores and all of that and laws that we've taken for granted, that we've just trusted is going to be there, we can't trust that right now. And it's going to be so nice to get back to that. It's just like, it's like living on, well, okay, it would be like if the ground was like walking on a waterbed. I'm reminded of the 1964 earthquake up in Alaska, and yes, I was there. I was 6 years old, and we lived next to Wasilla Lake, and we're sitting there, and not sitting there, my mom and I were hanging on. I've got the cat, and I had a calico cat, and my mom's yelling at me, put the cat down, We're hanging on to the rail fence in the front yard. My father is in the doorway of the house and just hanging on for dear life. It's kind of one of these little porches that was part of the doorway going in. And so he's there. He had just gotten home, and the thing hit. And so he couldn't get out of the house completely. And so he's in there. And we had sled dogs, and because we were dog mushers, and they were at the ends of their chains. Their legs kind of splayed out to try to stay upright, and they were all howling. And I don't remember how many we had. We probably had 30 dogs at the time, but It wasn't the time when we had 65 or the over 100 we had when our friends went outside for the summer. They were dog mushers too. They had to, so we had a big enough property. We took all their dogs and I took care of them, right? Well, anyway, so we're standing there hanging on for dear life while this is going on, and because this is a 9.2 earthquake. It was massive, and it went on for a bit. Each time all the aftershocks were major, and oh, it was awful. But we're looking out over the lake, which has still got ice on it. You know, it's still it's because it's March, and so there's still ice all over the lake, and you see all of this rumbling. All this ice breaks upward all over the lake, and you've got geysers going up all over the lake. It was the weirdest thing I mean, I was 6 years old, and it was just, you get entranced by it, right? I don't know. Then when the next day, when the smoke cleared, so to speak, metaphorically, well, not so much down on the coast where the tidal waves hit and the oil refineries, or the big drum things that they put it all in, oil or gas or whatever was in there, they were on fire. They burned for a while. Anyway, but when it all cleared, we went out to the lake and we were walking around on it, and it's like you had this layer of ice on top of all this water that's on top. So you probably had a bubble like a waterbed. So when I talked about the waterbed, it's like, oh yeah, I really remember that one. But it's like the ground is not stable under your feet. And that's how it feels right now. And given that I've I had a waterbed for a long time, I know what that's like. And then I also experienced it when I was really young. The feeling of nothing being sure, nothing that you can count on. So anyway, that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and get started. I talk a little while I shuffle, so you just don't have to watch me shuffle. That's no fun. Anyhow, we have a 3 energy for today, and so it's very catalytic, but you just need to also use that to think and before acting. Gather all the facts before you do. Bring everything into alignment, and maybe even choose not to act at all, just to stand back and see what happens. See what they tell you. See what they offer you. Anyway, if this is your first time here, welcome. If you come back, thank you so much. I hope you'll click subscribe and come back. I'd love you to do that. I do these particular videos Monday through Thursday. The esoteric influences, though, I do every day. I was thinking about doing a weekend one so I didn't have to do them on the weekends, but I don't know. It just doesn't work out that way. So I'm probably just going to keep doing them every day. It's nice to check in with people, you know, especially right now during the pandemic. It's just nice to check in with people. So did I just turn a card over? Yes, I did. Let me put that back. Anyhow, I'm going to take the first 3 cards. I'll take the 13th one each time for randomness sake. If we need more cards, we'll take them. Then we'll do a rune from the Elder Futhark bag, and we'll close out with a geomancy rune. So let's get started. Well, we have the Emperor. Yeah, he's not too happy, is he? Hail to the K-Hive. I think I smiled the rest of yesterday, the whole day. Oh boy, this is going to be fun, isn't it? I like them both. Yeah. Good job, Joe. You chose the right lady. Well, he could have chosen any of them and they'd be the right lady, but I'm sorry. I've always liked Kamala ever since I first saw her and heard her speak. I don't think it was in higher office in Washington, D.C. I think I heard her speak when she was, what was she, AG or something? Or whatever she was over there in California. I just think she's great. And I love how she's a take no prisoners. We're going to live in truth here now kind of person. I like that. I appreciate that. Here we have the Knight of Cups, an offering of grace. Knights are dynamic. Knights in the Thoth Tarot, however, are kings. Okay, now things have gone, this is still on though. Okay, even though it got dark, I'm going to keep talking. This is something I'm dealing with this computer, and I don't know what to do here. I don't know if I don't know what to do because it's not coming back on. Well, it's going to come back on though. Let me do this and see if it will come back on. Oh, come on. There we go. All right. I'm sorry about that. This is not a video thing as much as it might be a video card thing. It's not the camera, although, I don't know. I might have to plug this in and back. I've got it in a 3.0 USB port, but I think I need to maybe plug it into the 2 and see if it'll work on that. I think it's, though, for this particular one. I don't know why this is happening, but it doesn't go off, so we just have a little bit of darkness for a little bit. So hang in there with me. It will get better, I hope. Or I'm going to get a new computer. I've had enough. You know what I mean? Let's do the last card. It didn't happen in the Esoteric Influences one, so that's good, but it happened here again. So I don't know. Maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just pulling too much. I don't know. Here we have the Magician, first card of the Major Arcana. I think that we're going to put the Emperor in the center and talk about him as the reason for why we need to manifest something new and why we need to move forward in grace with one another. So let's talk about the Emperor, one of my least favorite cards. We see the ram's heads everywhere. That's the card of Aries and Mars and all of that. 4 is about structure, but it's about, it depends on what the structure is, okay? Foundation, structure, material, security, and all of that. But do we really have it, or is he self-dealing? And this guy doesn't look you in the eye. Slightly askew. I believe that is part of a sunflower in his hand. Yeah, it is. But it's just the sunflower part itself. It's not like he's holding it like a scepter or anything, so you don't see the part below. So, but he's holding just the sunflower part in his hand, a small one. So a little bit of vitality, but not a whole lot. He's got very strong, fiery presence, very authoritarian. Older man. Got a beard like my husband, only my husband's doesn't go down that far. It's about down to there. I view the Emperor as a misuse of power. He comes after the Empress, where she gives birth to the world. In some decks, you'll see them together. He'll be looking back at her. And basically like the Lover's card, where the guy representing Adam is looking at Eve, and she's looking towards spirit. So you see the focus of these men. It's not on spirit; it's on ego. And so I just view the Emperor as filled with ego, particularly if ill-dignified, and I think he is. He's got his battle boots on underneath his tartan wrap that he's got over him, and whatever the red thing is, I guess maybe it's just his robe or something, but it's almost like he's come back from battle, he's sitting down now, and he's just looking at everybody like, okay, what do you want from me? And that's the energy that I get from that every single time. And what we want is compassion. We want the offering of compassion. Cups is about the water element and our emotions and our compassion and our dignity and expressions of love, all of that. And he holds, his visor is up, so there's no battle. His horse is about to take a step over the water of emotions, which is kind of winding around, but it's not thrashing about. So it's just, kind of meandering about. But what we need now is compassion, and we need truth. And we need everybody to be on that compassionate path. basically, that we take this step together. In other words, knights are dynamic. They're out there. They're a little bit older than the page would be. The page would be a student of some kind, but knights, they've already been to school. They've learned what they need to. Now they're going to go out and they're going to be on their quest, you know. And in here, it's for something that's more compassionate and loving than what we've got from the emperor himself, who really cannot be bothered with anybody else, only himself, right? So in truth, we need to manifest something new, in balance, from spirit. We have the as above, so below positioning of the magician, holding a scroll, likely the Torah, to heaven. We see the flowers, the garlands above. We see his tools on the table, his magical tools, his wand, his pentacle, his cup or chalice, and his sword, representing all elements. We see the lilies below, and more roses, depicting love and purity. Purity of motive, okay? Here you have purity of motive represented. He's making an offering, a gesture of love and harmony and compassion towards someone else. The people that he's going out on a quest for, or on behalf of, or maybe this is part of the quest and part of it is offering compassion and support to others. We have to manifest another way forward. It has to be one, this has to be done with spirit in mind and not ego, which means you ignore this guy and take the reins, because he's got the left hand holding the reins, the receptive hand holding the reins. So that's integration between him and the horse. During the, for the esoteric influences for today, Rado was the rune for that, and that's rider and horse. That's integrated motion with others. So it does align with the esoteric influences for today in terms of that. But here, the power hand is offering a chalice of love and understanding and support and unity and compassion, while he understands that we're in this together. Let's do one more card just to be sure. My cards are getting bendy again. You have to take a moment and bend your cards back. They do this after a point. Then they don't want to shuffle very well. And do move your cards around in the reading. You can do that. Oh, Page of Swords. Did we have this yesterday, I think? Yesterday or day before. I think it was yesterday. See, the ground's almost moving under him, right? Kind of like the ice on Wasilla Lake up in Alaska when we had the earthquake. And we're out there walking on it. You know, it's unstable ground. So unstable ground, you see the sketchier clouds. A little bit of truth is coming out because the center of them, it's getting a little bit whiter. So basically what we have here, he's leaning forward into the future with truth and honesty and fairness and balance and all of that. But he's looking back. And who's he looking at? Well, let's get it on the right side there. I have to do everything backwards. Yeah, he's looking back at the king. It's like, no, 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 no. If we're going to manifest something new, we need some information to do that with, right? And we're going to get that from the page. Undeveloped potential, new information, new truth. Could have to do with Biden's selection of Kamala. I don't know. Of Senator Harris. I don't know. But we need a fundamental change based on truth and compassion, balancing truth and compassion. And the page is leaning into the future that the knight is now going to go and create or foster or invoke, or however you want to see this. So clearly what we're going to have today is some truth come out that the emperor isn't going to like. He's already calling her nasty and all of this. It's like he gets fixated on demeaning women. And I don't know about you, but I'm sick of it. I'm sick of men that do that. I'm sick of men who dismiss women. I'm sick of men who dismiss men. You know, it's this weird sense of power and authority. We have Degas. It's a new day, folks. Let's look at that. So we have Degas, looks like a bow tie. Or if you turn it this way, it looks like an hourglass, doesn't it? But what is this? It means new day. It means all doors open, enlightenment, illumination. One thing ends. Let's see. There was one rune master said the energy at its saturation point becomes the opposite. I just love that. Some of the, and like urus, that's another one that someone came up with. It's called drizzle. The forming force behind the actual manifesting, choice to manifest all of it. It's the forming force behind that. So the source presence behind everything. It's just amazing. But here we have Degas. So we terminate on the ends, Gebo, with Isa. Isa, the 11th rune of the Elder Futhark, a Norn rune, signaling alignment and source presence, will contraction, will development, freezing something into place. So we're going to terminate that in terms of this, you know, contained process of life or experience or whatever you're talking about. From there, of course, we have Lagus as well. You can see on both sides, flow of spirit. I'll get that up a little bit higher. And then when we explode Gebo in the center, we have Kenaz in all directions, the light of spirit. So you can see that Degas is, you know, as the 23rd rune of the Elder Futhark, next to last. You're basically getting to the point where you're about to come full circle. In fact, some rune masters for a while were thinking that it should go at the end and Othala should come first. I kind of played around with it that way for a while and finally just put it back the way it originally was, or the way we think it originally was anyway. But again, as one door closes, another one opens, is that type of energetic exchange with Degas. And so again, it's time to close the door on misplaced authority that's out of control and self-dealing, return to manifestations of something better and something pure from the light of spirit, have that be moving forward in compassion with other people, with new information as well, and truth, guiding our path in this Degas moment. That's pretty cool. Let's see what the geomancy rune is for today. And when I write this up on the blog, the esoteric influences on the blog, oh, it's populous. I'm going to let's put that one there, and that one there, and that one there. At least get them in order. That's going to be the rune, or the geomancy rune, because I do more than just the normal stuff. When I write it up, I add a tarot card for the day, which is going to be the Chariot from the Thoth Tarot. And then the geomancy rune for the day will be Populous. And Populous is about going with the flow. It's about a group. Via its complement is more of an individual direction, more of an active influence. When you see two dots together instead of one, you're looking at more of a passive influence. But on the other hand, you know, it's coming together in harmony with other people. That's Populous. So fire, air, water, and earth are all passive today. And it means that we're just going to be united with others in shared purpose. You know, again, in response to the self-dealing aspects of the emperor and the misplaced authority. Here's the thing. We don't have emperors here. We don't have that in this country. We have a president. We have a Congress. We have 3 branches of government for a reason, so that there's no unitary authority anywhere, right? Yeah. I think that we're seeing right now, especially with the announcement of Senator Kamala Harris as Vice President Biden's running mate, I think that we're looking at a transition now into a different mindset that's going to be presented to the American people. I think that at this point, we're going to see a shift into something else. It's almost like we've had no way out. Clearly, he was impeached. He needed to be. You can argue about whether or not they should have included more, but the Republicans in the Senate were never going to do it. So it's a testimony to their ineptness and their own level of self-dealing on this, their own lack of dignity and respect for the job that they're supposed to be doing. They took an oath. They bailed on it. It's that simple. Bottom line, though, I think that what we're seeing now is we now have another choice. It's there. It's clear what that choice is. So when you start to think about how we're all living and the fear we're living within, the mismanagement of the pandemic, all of these things, and now trying to do away essentially with the post office and slow everything down and make it so impossible that we can't vote by mail. So now they're trying to subvert the election. You can see what's happened to the country. It's a mess. And it's because you've got people that are supposed to be doing their jobs to make sure that the checks and balances are there, and they're just flinging the door open for this guy. Okay? I don't know how this happened. I don't know why it happened. I think in time we're going to find out, though. I think that's part of what the Page of Swords is suggesting, that there's truth out there to be known. We've just got to lean into it now. And go ahead and see it for what it is. Understand the truth of the situation, whether it's collectively what we're dealing with, or if there's something going on in your personal life. Understand what that is. Come into harmony with others, but first get to the truth of it. Figure out what's going on. You may need to unite with others in order to do that. But at the end of the day, everything has got to go forward in love, compassion, and in truth. And not in the deception that we're dealing with. Again, my feeling is when we have such a big thing going on in the country this way, I just think that that kind of energy has a trickle-down effect. And it's almost like it gives people the license to behave the same way toward others. And I think that if you look at it all with that type of viewpoint, under that lens, so to speak, I think you can see a pattern emerging. And there's a lot of people now that are behaving the way this guy does. And the impeached one in the Oval Office, they're behaving the way he does. Whether it's the police, whether it's your neighbors, whether it's family members, whether it's coworkers, you think about what has changed in terms of the energy dynamic between all of you. Is it the same? Are you still, in unity with one another? Are you still getting along? Or have you got people that are, dumping on you and making you feel like, hey, I don't matter, I guess, anymore. What I want doesn't matter at all. Even my own personal safety isn't important to other people. You see, that's really what a lot of this is now coming down to. And maybe the unexpected positive aspect of going through a pandemic is that we learn that. And maybe if we're somebody who's being disrespectful, maybe we start to reevaluate that and say, you know what? When all is said and done, I'm not going to have any friends. My family isn't going to talk to me. I might be out of a job. You get people that are accosting other people. It's happening on camera. They're getting arrested and they're getting fired. So you're seeing some immediacy in that regard with people that are not, behaving properly to one another here. You don't want to wear a mask? Stay home then. It's really that simple. But don't go out and about without one and potentially harm other people. And don't buy into the mindset that you only got to do that if you're inside somewhere. If you're outside and you're close to people, you've got to have a mask on. If it's windy, it travels. You don't breathe out and then it just drops to the ground. It doesn't do that. So understand that the mask thing, I realize they've kind of, in a way, on one level dumbed it down, and we can't do that. I know there was a doctor that ultimately got this, and the only way he thinks he got it is because one time he didn't have goggles on. It was the only way it could have gotten in was through his eyes. What does that tell you? You know, just wear a mask, and don't bother other people if they're doing it. I guess one guy came up to a child of, I don't know how old the child was, maybe it was a teenager, I don't know, still a child, still a minor, got in his face and, you know, yelling at him for not taking the mask off, and, you know, now you've got the COVID, he says. Who does that? This is what I'm talking about. That's this kind of energy. Okay? That's what that is. It's arrogance. When what is needed is compassion and support and unity. Okay? So sorry for the blacking out of the screen there. I honestly don't know what's going on, and I don't think that rebooting it matters because I did that one time and it did it again. So I don't know. I'm going to switch this thing to the other port and see if that stops it. But I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you click subscribe and come back tomorrow. I'd sure love you to do that, and make it a wonderful day for yourself. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another. Again, wear a mask if you go out, and blessed be.